Hello, this is the Bible in Fewer Words. We are Carol and Steve Wells. This is episode 25, Exodus, the end of chapter 4.
Yeah, we did the beginning of chapter 4 last time. Ended with that.
Yes, we did. So we're just going to do half a chapter today.
Yeah, this is pretty unusual, but it's a kind of a zinger, right? I mean, if there was a story that I'd like people to know about, we're going to include it in this episode.
Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
God said to Moses, "Go back to Egypt. Everyone who is trying to kill you is now dead." Okay.
So Moses is still up on the mountain. The mountain of God is the way that the Exodus refers to it, Mount Horeb, and
with the burning bush.
With the burning bush, and this is their conversation that they're having there.
And before this, Moses didn't really know God.
Yeah, this was Moses' first introduction to the Hebrew God, as far as we know. I said last time that we didn't know how old Moses was. Exodus doesn't tell us, at least hasn't told us yet. But it turns out that in the New Testament, in the book of Acts, it's very explicit about the age of Moses at various times in his life, at least at 2 points in his life.
Okay.
When he killed the Egyptian, he was 40 years old.
And then he left Egypt.
He left Egypt, and when he talked to God on Mount Horeb, he was 80 years old. So he's 80 years old now. He's an old man.
So going back to my point about what religion he might have practiced or what gods he might have worshipped, we don't. He was an Israelite, but put in a basket when he was a baby, and then was nursed by his mom, which is weird, even though it shouldn't be weird, and then taken in by the Pharaoh's daughter. She adopted him, so he lived his whole life in the Pharaoh's house. So he's kind of a prince.
First 40 years as
40.
a prince of Egypt. He was the adopted son of the daughter of the Pharaoh.
So the Prince of Egypt, like the movie?
Like the movie, and that's where that came from. They got that part of it right. So he would have been raised with the Egyptian beliefs, with the Egyptian god or gods.
Okay.
Certainly not the Hebrew God.
So I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know a whole lot about the Egyptian gods.
I don't either, but I think they worshiped the sun god. They had various gods. I believe they were polytheists.
Okay.
And then the second part of his life there, he would have lived with Jethro in Midian. Jethro was a priest. He was a priest of Midian, and it would have been with a different god than the God of the Jews, the God of the Hebrews.
So when he married his wife, Zipporah, Jethro's her father. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, and he's a priest.
Yes, when he's first introduced, they used the name Ruel. Now he's called Jethro.
Okay. All right, so he's up talking to a God that he didn't know and said, okay, who should I say is talking?
Right.
I am that I am. So Moses put his wife and sons on a donkey and returned to Egypt, carrying God's rod in his hand.
So he must have went back to Midian from the mountain of God and collected his family, put them on a donkey, and headed off to Egypt. Doing
what God asked him to do.
That's right.
Even though he's not too excited about doing it because he's going to have to talk in front of people.
No, but he said, Aaron's your brother. He talks well.
So
let him speak for you.
Okay, so he's going to go with his brother.
Yeah. God said to Moses, "When you get to Egypt, do all the wonders that I taught you in front of the Pharaoh. I'll harden his heart so he won't let the people go."
What does that mean, to harden someone's heart?
Well, he's going to mess with his mind somehow, or his heart. He's going to make it so that he is not willing. Otherwise, he might be willing to let the people go, but God's going to make sure that he won't let the people go.
Even though that's what God is sending Moses over to Egypt to accomplish, to let the people go.
Exactly. It doesn't make much sense, but that's what God is saying here. Go ask Pharaoh to let the people go. I'm going to harden his heart, so he won't do that.
That's messed up.
Yeah, it is. Say to him, God said, "Israel is my firstborn son. If you refuse to let him go, I'll kill your firstborn son."
Some more troubling language. Israel is my firstborn son. I guess that doesn't really mean Israel Jacob was changed his name.
God changed his name to Israel, and then all of his descendants then are, I guess, Israel, his firstborn son. So it's kind of he has a lot of firstborn sons. They're all descendants of Israel.
So all the people that he's heard the cry from who are, troubled in Egypt, the Pharaoh's mistreating them, that's his firstborn son.
That's his firstborn son. I guess he's got other sons. But the one that was born first, his oldest son, is Israel. And if the Pharaoh doesn't let the people of Israel go, who is God's firstborn son, he'll kill the Pharaoh's firstborn son. Even though he's going to make sure that he won't let them go, he's going to harden his heart so they won't. Anyway, that's what we got here.
That is a mess. So, verse 24. One night while they were traveling to Egypt, God tried to kill Moses. Did I read that right?
Yeah,
God
you did.
Tried to kill Moses.
It's one of the most puzzling verses in the Bible for a Bible believer is that verse in Exodus 4:24.
God just asked him to go release his people from the Pharaoh's clutches, and now he's trying to kill him while he's on his way to do that.
Apparently they're on their way. We don't know whether he dropped his family off. No, he has his family. They're with him. And they're on their way to Egypt. Apparently this is at night. They come to an inn. It does tell us that much. A lodging place. And God tries to kill him.
So we think God appeared to them, or we don't know?
This all happens in 3 verses.
All right, well, let's read the rest of the 3 verses. But his wife, Zipporah, took a sharp stone, cut off the foreskin of her son, and cast it at his feet. So that's the second verse. That's verse 25.
Yeah, and there's some pronoun problems here.
Yes, there are. Actually, there's more than pronoun problems.
Yeah.
How did she know what she had to do to save Moses from getting killed?
I don't know. Maybe she'd heard that the God, maybe she knows more about the Hebrew God than Moses does.
Oh, that could be.
It's possible. Maybe she knows that the Hebrew God insists on circumcising male sons, and he didn't circumcise his sons, maybe.
And is Moses circumcised?
Well, we don't know. The Bible never says whether Moses was circumcised, and people have wondered about that. Some of the rabbis have said that he was born circumcised.
Well, that's bizarre.
Yeah. And it could be that, she's circumcising. It does say that she's circumcising. It's Gershom that's being circumcised, but it doesn't say. It's one of the sons.
Okay. I'm just going to read that again because it's so bizarre. But his wife, Zipporah, took a sharp stone, cut off the foreskin of her son, and cast it at his feet.
Yeah, so we don't really know whose feet
she cast
it at. I assume that it's Moses's.
Well, it could be Gershom.
Could be.
It could be God if he's there with him, threatening to kill Moses.
It is possible that it's God.
A lot of pronoun problems.
And feet is a word that's often used in the Bible as a euphemism for sexual organs. So maybe she took the little bloody bits of the foreskin that she cut off, and she touched or threw it at Moses's private parts. It kind of makes sense, kind of I guess.
All right. So I'm going to go on here.
Okay.
So God let him go. All right. God let who him? I guess Moses.
Moses. Mm-hmm.
And then Zipporah said to Moses, "You're a bloody husband because of the circumcision." So she's kind of swearing at Moses.
Yeah, she must not have been very happy about what she had to do. It would have been a hard job to cut off a baby's foreskin. I guess it's a baby, his foreskin with a sharp rock. This would be a very difficult, delicate operation that she had to do with a sharp stone.
How did she know she had to do that?
There's no way of telling, but maybe she just knew. Maybe she knew that circumcision was what God was angry at something. He was trying to kill Moses. She figured out somehow the reason he's angry with you, Moses, is you haven't circumcised your son. I'm going to do it for you and save your life. And she did that.
And she didn't appreciate having to be the one that had to do that.
I think the whole thing kind of disgusted her and angered her. And that's why she said that.
You're a bloody husband because of the circumcision.
Yeah. We'll go on from there.
I guess so.
Now, that's all the Bible says. There are 3 verses here.
About that story about God trying to kill Moses.
That's it. So now we're going to go on, and we're going to verse 27, which says, God said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Moses.
So Aaron now is in the picture?
Yeah. The first time we heard about Aaron in the whole Bible was the last episode when God said Moses was complaining, I don't speak well. And God said, well, Moses is your brother. He speaks well. He'll be your spokesperson.
Or he'll be your mouth.
He'll be your mouth. Yeah. You'll be his God.
You'll be his God.
Right. And so we know that he had a brother. And God apparently must have contacted him, said to Aaron, go meet your brother Moses on my mountain, on God's mountain, Horeb. And so that's what he did. So Aaron met Moses on the mountain of God and kissed him.
So they're on Mount Horeb. And it sounds like they're just saying Moses. Moses doesn't sound like he's got family with him. You know, if I was his wife, I would have said, you're a bloody husband.
I'm going to go home.
Yes, you're a bloody husband because of the circumcision. You're on your own, buddy.
And I think actually that is what happened, because we don't hear about Zipporah or his sons.
Well, she probably figured this little venture is kind of dangerous. The first thing that happens is that my husband is threatened.
I think she's probably had enough.
Yeah.
Or maybe Aaron said, you got to get rid of the family here. We're going to go back to Egypt.
And it's not going to be a picnic.
It's going to be dangerous and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Verse 28. Moses taught Aaron all the signs that God taught him. Oh, and signs, they mean magic.
Yeah, so the rod to snake trick,
yeah.
And then the leprous hand thing.
And then blood.
The water to blood.
All right. Moses and Aaron met the Hebrew elders. So I guess they're there. They're in Egypt.
Yeah, they've arrived. Yeah, it's a long trip, but now they're back in Egypt.
Moses and Aaron met with the Hebrew elders and showed them all of God's magic tricks. And the people believed.
Yeah.
So they believed that God appeared to Moses.
Yeah, and so Moses, this is the Hebrew people.
Yes.
They're slaves there in Egypt, but they saw Moses and Aaron do their thing, and they believed. That's all it says.
All right.
And that is the end of chapter 4.
Okay. That was a lot, and we talked a lot.
We did, yeah. It's a pretty short little section of verses, but there's a lot to talk about.
Yes, and those 3 little verses about God trying to kill Moses.
And I recommend that you go back and read chapter 4, verses 24 through 26, because those are very interesting verses, and maybe you can figure them out better than we did. That's our best attempt.
And if we find out more stuff about these verses, we will put them on the website, which is skepticsannotatedbible.com. where there is the logo of the Bible in fewer words, and you can go down and follow the text along with us, or just read the notes that are at the bottom. Have a great day. Thanks for being with us.
Bye-bye.